The crimson sunset painted Ella Cartwright's white nightgown red as blood as she collapsed to the dirt road, her valise spilling open beside her. Ely, Nevada wasn't supposed to be her final destination, merely a stop on her journey west in the summer of 1875, but after 3 days of fever on the stagecoach, her body had other ideas. Miss, can you hear me?" A man's voice pierced through her delirium. Strong arms lifted her as darkness closed in. Someone fetch the doctor. When Ella opened her eyes, she found herself in an unfamiliar bed, sunlight streaming through lace curtains. Her throat felt parched, her body weak. "Ah, you're awake." A middle-aged woman with kind eyes approached. "I'm Martha Wilson, the doctor's wife. You've been quite ill, my dear." "How long?" Ella whispered. 3 days. "My husband says it was exhaustion and dehydration. You're lucky Mr. Reed found you when he did." Ella tried to sit up but found her strength lacking. "Easy now," Martha cautioned. "You're not leaving this bed until Edgar says you're fit. Now, is there anyone we should notify? Family waiting for you somewhere?" Ella shook her head. "No, there's no one." Martha's eyes softened with understanding. "Well, you'll stay right here until you're better. I'll bring some broth." Over the next few days, Ella regained her strength under Martha's attentive care. She learned she was in the Wilson home, which doubled as the town's medical office. Dr. Edgar Wilson was a gentle man with graying temples who checked on her daily. On the 4th morning, a knock came at her door. Martha entered with a tall man behind her. "Miss Cartwright, this is Cole Reed, the gentleman who brought you to us." Cole Reed stood awkwardly in the doorway, hat in hand. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with sun-bronzed skin that spoke of long days outdoors. His hair was the color of wheat and his eyes a startling blue against his tanned face. "Madam," he nodded, "glad to see you're recovering." "Mr. Reed," Ella found her voice. "I'm told I owe you my life." He shook his head. "Any decent person would have done the same." "Nonetheless, I thank you." Martha smiled between them. "Cole owns the largest cattle ranch outside of Ely. He was in town delivering supplies when he found you." "Just checking to see you were on the mend," Cole said. "I'll leave you to your rest." After he left, Martha handed Ella a cup of tea. "Such a good man, Cole Reed. Been running that ranch since his father passed 5 years ago. Works harder than any 3 men combined." Ella sipped the tea. "He seems kind." "The kindest," Martha agreed. "Though lonely, I suspect. That ranch is too big for one man." 3 days later, Dr. Wilson declared Ella well enough to leave bed. She sat on the porch enjoying the fresh air when a wagon pulled up. Cole Reed climbed down, carrying a wooden crate. "Miss Cartwright," he greeted. "Good to see you up and about, Mr. Reed. What brings you to town?" "Delivering eggs and milk," he said, lifting the crate. "The Wilsons mentioned you're recovering well." Ella nodded. "Thanks to them, and you." An awkward silence fell between them until Cole cleared his throat. "I understand you were traveling through." "Yes," Ella replied, though her planned destination now seemed uncertain. "Do you have employment waiting?" She hesitated. "I was to be a governess for a family in Sacramento, but they were expecting me last week. I imagine they've hired someone else by now." Cole shifted his weight. "Well, if you're in need of work, I could use help at the ranch. My housekeeper, Mrs. Perkins, is getting on in years and could use an extra pair of hands." Ella blinked in surprise. "You're offering me employment, if you're interested. It's honest work, though not fancy. Room and board plus wages." Before she could respond, Martha came out carrying a tray. "Cole Reed, are you stealing my patient?" Though her tone was light, her eyes held approval. "Just offering options, Mrs. Wilson." Martha set the tray down. "Well, it's a fine offer." Ella's been wondering what to do next. Ella felt her cheeks warm. "I wouldn't want to impose." "It's no imposition," Cole assured her. "Mrs. Perkins has been asking for help for months." Seeing few alternatives and desperately needing employment, Ella nodded. "Then I accept your offer, Mr. Reed. When would you like me to start?" "I'll be heading back tomorrow after I finish my business in town. If you're well enough, you can ride with me then." The next morning, Ella packed her meager belongings. The Wilsons refused payment for her care, insisting that neighbors helped neighbors in Ely. Martha pressed a package into her hands as she departed. "Some bread and preserves for the journey," she explained, "and a note with my remedy for Cole's recurring headaches. The stubborn man won't ask for help, but I know they trouble him." Ella tucked the package into her valise. "Thank you for everything, Martha. I don't know what would have become of me without your kindness. Just promise to visit. It's nice having another woman to talk to." Cole helped Ella onto the wagon bench, then climbed up beside her. The journey to the Reed Ranch took most of the morning, giving Ella time to appreciate the vast beauty of the Nevada landscape. Mountains rose in the distance, while sagebrush dotted the golden plains. "It's beautiful," she breathed. Cole glanced at her. "Most folks see only emptiness. They're not looking properly then." That earned her the first genuine smile she'd seen from him. It transformed his serious face, reaching his eyes and revealing a warmth she hadn't expected. The Reed Ranch came into view near noon, a sprawling property with a main house, barn, bunkhouse, and various outbuildings. Cattle grazed in distant pastures while closer fields held crops. "It's much larger than I imagined," Ella remarked. "My father started with nothing," Cole said, pride evident in his voice. "Built it all with his own hands. Now we've got one of the most successful cattle operations in the territory." As they pulled up to the house, an older woman emerged onto the porch. Her gray hair was pulled into a severe bun and her expression was equally stern. "Mrs. Perkins," Cole called, "I've brought you some help." The woman's sharp eyes assessed Ella. "About time. Hope she's sturdier than she looks." Ella straightened her spine. "I assure you, Mrs. Perkins, I'm stronger than I appear." The older woman harumphed but seemed satisfied. "Well, come along then. Days wasting." Cole carried Ella's valise inside. "Mrs. Perkins will show you to your room and explain your duties. I need to check on the herd." With that, he was gone, leaving Ella to follow Mrs. Perkins through the surprisingly spacious house. The furniture was solid and well-made, if simple. What caught Ella's attention were the bookshelves lining one wall of the sitting room filled with volumes. "Mr. Reed's mother was a great reader," Mrs. Perkins explained, following Ella's gaze. "He keeps adding to her collection." Ella's room was small but comfortable with a narrow bed, washstand, and chest of drawers. A window overlooked a kitchen garden. "You'll help with cooking, cleaning, mending, and laundry," Mrs. Perkins explained. "The men take their meals in the bunkhouse except for Mr. Reed, who eats here. Breakfast at 5, dinner at noon, supper at 6. Any questions?" "No, Mrs. Perkins, I'll do my best." The older woman's expression softened slightly. "I'm sure you will. Get settled, then come to the kitchen. You can help with supper." Life at the Reed Ranch quickly fell into a rhythm. Ella rose before dawn to help prepare breakfast, then tackled whatever tasks Mrs. Perkins assigned. Though the work was demanding, she found satisfaction in it, and her health improved with regular meals and rest. Cole was often absent during the day, working with his ranch hands or riding the boundaries of his property. When present at meals, he was polite but reserved. Ella found herself curious about the man who had rescued her and given her employment when she most needed it. One evening, nearly 2 weeks after her arrival, Ella found Cole in the sitting room after supper, reading by lamplight. "Would it disturb you if I borrowed a book?" she asked. He looked up, seemingly surprised to find her there. "Not at all. Help yourself." Ella browsed the shelves. "You have an impressive collection." "My mother insisted that education shouldn't stop just because we lived far from schools. She taught me to read before I could properly ride." Ella selected a volume of poetry. "She sounds like a remarkable woman." She was. His voice held a note of old grief. "Lost her when I was 15, consumption." "I'm sorry." Ella sat in the chair opposite him. "My parents died when I was 12. Fever took them both within days of each other." Cole's eyes met hers with understanding. "It's a hard thing, losing family young." "It is." Ella opened the book. "What happened after your mother passed, my father and I managed. He taught me ranching, I taught myself from books at night." As they talked, Ella noticed Cole's guarded nature relaxing slightly. He spoke of his father with respect, of his plans to expand the cattle operation, of the challenges of ranching in Nevada territory. "And you?" he eventually asked. "How did you come to be traveling alone to California?" Ella hesitated, memories she tried to suppress rising to the surface. "After my parents died, I lived with my aunt in Boston. She arranged a marriage for me to a business associate of my late father's, a man 40 years my senior." Cole's expression darkened. "I take it you didn't agree with her plan." "I refused. When she insisted, I left in the night with what little money I had saved from teaching music. I've been moving westward since, taking positions as a governess or companion." "Brave of you," Cole remarked. Ella shook her head. "Desperate, perhaps, but I couldn't bear the thought of that marriage." They fell into a comfortable silence until the clock chimed 9. Ella rose. "I should retire. Thank you for the conversation, Mr. Reed." "Cole," he corrected. "If we're to share books and stories, you might as well use my given name." Ella smiled. "Then you must call me Ella." "Good night, Ella." "Good night, Cole." As summer progressed into early autumn, these evening conversations became a cherished routine. Ella discovered that beneath Cole's reserved exterior lay a thoughtful, intelligent man with unexpected depths. He had taught himself engineering to design a new irrigation system for his fields and could discuss literature with surprising insight. For his part, Cole seemed to appreciate having someone to talk with after long days of physical labor. Though Mrs. Perkins had been a fixture at the ranch for years, she kept conversations practical and brief. The change in their relationship didn't go unnoticed. One morning as they prepared breakfast, Mrs. Perkins fixed Ella with a shrewd look. "The master seems livelier since you came," she observed. "Good to see him talking instead of just working himself to exhaustion." Ella concentrated on kneading dough. "He's an interesting man." "I enjoy our conversations." "HMPH," Mrs. Perkins responded, but her eyes held approval. Late one September afternoon, as Ella hung laundry in the yard, she noticed a cloud of dust approaching. Soon she made out Cole riding hard toward the house. Another rider slumped against him. "Mrs. Perkins." Ella called, dropping the wet sheet back into the basket and running toward the approaching riders. Cole reined in his horse, his face grim. One of the new hands took a fall, his legs broken bad. Together, they helped the injured cowboy, a young man barely out of his teens named Jimmy, into the house. While Mrs. Perkins gathered medical supplies, Cole explained to Ella, "Doc Wilson's away delivering the Carson baby. We'll have to set it ourselves." Ella nodded. "I've assisted with setting bones before. My aunt ran a boarding house for a time." Relief flickered across Cole's face. "Good. Mrs. Perkins has the know-how, but her hands aren't steady enough for this work anymore." The next hours tested them all. Jimmy bore the pain bravely as Cole manipulated the broken bones back into place while Ella held the leg steady. Mrs. Perkins provided whiskey for the patient and practical advice for the impromptu medical team. When the splint was finally secured, Jimmy had passed out from pain and exhaustion. Cole carried him to a spare bedroom. "He'll stay here until he's mobile again," he declared. "Can't manage the bunkhouse stairs on crutches." Ella nodded, washing blood from her hands. "I'll look after him." Cole studied her face. "You did well. Not everyone can stomach such work." "Necessity teaches many skills," she replied. "Besides, he's little more than a boy. 18 last month from what he told me when I hired him." Cole rubbed his neck, fatigue evident in every line of his body. "His parents are dead. Ranch work was all he could find." The parallels to Ella's own circumstances weren't lost on her. "He's fortunate you gave him a chance." "Everyone deserves one," Cole said simply. That night, after checking on Jimmy, Ella found Cole on the porch, staring at the star-filled sky. "He's sleeping," she reported, joining him at the railing. "The fever's mild." Cole nodded. "Thank you for your help today, of course." Ella hesitated, then added, "You're a good man, Cole Reed. Not many employers would care for a ranch hand as you have." He shrugged. "My father taught me that the measure of a man is how he treats those who depend on him." "He taught you well." Ella glanced at Cole's profile, strong and steady in the moonlight. Something shifted in her heart, a recognition of qualities she'd come to admire: his quiet strength, his sense of responsibility, his kindness that never sought acknowledgement. Cole turned, catching her gaze. For a moment, something electric passed between them before he looked away. "It's late," he said. "You should rest." "As should you," she replied softly. But that night, sleep eluded Ella as she confronted the truth she'd been avoiding. She was falling in love with Cole Reed. Jimmy's recovery provided a welcome distraction from Ella's growing feelings. The young cowboy proved to be a good patient, grateful for the care and eager to earn his keep even while confined to bed. Ella taught him to read better during his convalescence, using Cole's books. "Mr. Reed says I can stay on after I heal," Jimmy told her one afternoon. "Says he'll teach me proper ranching, not just the rough work." "That's wonderful," Ella replied, adjusting his pillows. "He's the best boss I've ever had," Jimmy continued. "Treats us fair, works alongside us. The other hands say he never asks anyone to do something he wouldn't do himself." Ella smiled. "I believe that." October brought cooler weather and the cattle roundup. The ranch buzzed with activity as additional hands arrived to help drive the herd to market. Cole worked from before dawn until well after dusk, often too tired for more than a brief goodnight before retiring. Ella missed their evening conversations but understood the demands of the season. Still, she found herself watching for him, her heart quickening whenever he appeared. The night before the cattle drive's departure, Ella prepared a special meal. Mrs. Perkins, recognizing Ella's growing skill in the kitchen, had ceded more cooking responsibilities to her over the months. "You've set quite a spread," Cole commented when he came in from the barn, freshly washed for supper. "You'll need your strength for the journey," Ella replied, suddenly shy under his appreciative gaze. They ate mostly in silence, Cole too weary for conversation. As Ella cleared the plates, he spoke. "I'll be gone at least 2 weeks, 3 if the weather turns. I know." She kept her eyes on the dishes. "We've prepared food for your journey. Mrs. Perkins mentioned you did most of it." Ella shrugged. "I wanted to help." Cole stood, moving to where she worked at the wash basin. "Ella." His voice was low, almost hesitant. "I want to thank you for everything you've done here." She turned, finding him closer than expected. "It's my job." "No," he shook his head. "You've gone beyond that. The house hasn't felt this much like a home since my mother was alive." The compliment warmed her cheeks. "I'm glad." Cole seemed about to say more when Mrs. Perkins entered with Jimmy hobbling behind her on crutches, breaking the moment. "The boy insisted on seeing you before you leave," Mrs. Perkins explained. Cole nodded, stepping away from Ella to speak with Jimmy. The moment passed, leaving Ella wondering what might have been said if they hadn't been interrupted. The ranch felt empty with Cole and most of the hands gone. Ella filled her days with work, deep cleaning the house and helping Mrs. Perkins preserve the late garden harvest. Jimmy continued to improve, graduating from crutches to a walking stick. One afternoon, a rider approached Dr. Wilson, making rounds to check on patients. "Jimmy's healing well," he pronounced after examining the young cowboy. "Another month and he'll be ready for light duties." "That's wonderful news," Ella said, serving coffee in the kitchen afterward. Dr. Wilson studied her over his cup. "And you, Miss Cartwright, you've certainly flourished here." "I have," she admitted. "The work suits me. And the company." His kind eyes held understanding. Ella looked away. "Everyone has been most welcoming, indeed." The doctor set down his cup. "Martha sends her regards. She hopes you'll visit soon." "I'd like that," Ella replied. "Perhaps when Cole returns." Dr. Wilson nodded thoughtfully. "He's a good man, Cole Reed, one of the best I know." "Yes," Ella agreed softly. "He is." After the doctor left, Ella found herself restless. She walked to the barn where Jimmy was carefully performing the light tasks Mrs. Perkins allowed him. "Doc says you're healing well," she greeted him. Jimmy grinned. "Soon I'll be back to real work." "Not that I don't appreciate all you and Mrs. Perkins have done." "We've enjoyed having you in the house," Ella assured him, "though I imagine you're eager to rejoin the other hands." They're good fellows, Jimmy agreed. Like family, almost, he paused, considering. Reckon that's why Mr. Reed's so particular about who he hires, wants decent men around him. Has he always been so? Careful about people, Jimmy shrugged. From what the older hands say, he got more serious after his father died. Taking on the whole ranch at 23 wasn't easy. Some folks thought he'd sell up and move to town. I can't imagine him leaving this place, Ella said, glancing around at the land Cole tended with such dedication. Me neither, Jimmy smiled. He belongs here, just needs someone to share it with, the older hands say. Ella felt her cheeks warm. Well, he has Mrs. Perkins, and all of you. Jimmy gave her a knowing look but said nothing more. 2 weeks stretched to 3 with no word from Cole. Ella tried to hide her growing concern, but Mrs. Perkins wasn't fooled. He'll be back when he's back, the older woman said firmly one evening as they mended by lamplight. Cattle drives don't run on schedules. I'm not worried, Ella lied. Mrs. Perkins snorted. Of course you are, so am I, but Cole Reed knows his business. He'll bring those men home safe. The next morning dawned cold and clear. Ella was in the kitchen preparing breakfast when she heard hoofbeats in the yard. Heart pounding, she hurried to the window. Cole dismounted wearily from his horse, his men filing in behind him. They looked trail-worn but intact. Ella fought the urge to rush outside. Instead, she added more bacon to the skillet and put on a fresh pot of coffee. By the time Cole entered the kitchen, she had composed herself. "Welcome home," she greeted him, trying to keep her voice steady. Cole's tired face brightened at the sight of her. "It's good to be back," Mrs. Perkins bustled in. "About time. We were starting to wonder if you'd decided to move to California." "Storm delayed us," Cole explained, accepting the coffee Ella offered. "Had to wait it out in the mountains." "Well, sit down before you fall down, Mrs. Perkins ordered. "Both of you eat while it's hot. I'll tell the boy you're back." Left alone with Cole, Ella found herself suddenly shy. Was the drive successful? Very. Cole's eyes didn't leave her face. "Got a better price than expected. Should see us comfortably through winter and spring." "I'm glad." They ate in companionable silence for a few minutes before Cole spoke again. "How have things been here?" "Quiet," Ella replied. "Jimmy's healing well. Dr. Wilson visited last week." Cole nodded. "Good, and you, how have you been?" The simple question, asked with genuine interest, touched her. "I've been well, though the house felt empty with you gone." Something flickered in Cole's eyes. "Did it?" Before Ella could respond, Jimmy hobbled in, his face alight with excitement. "Mr. Reed, you're back." The moment broken, Cole turned his attention to the young cowboy, listening to his progress report with genuine interest. Ella busied herself with clearing dishes, aware of Cole's occasional glances in her direction. That evening, after supper, Cole found Ella in the sitting room with her mending. "I brought something for you," he said, holding out a small package wrapped in brown paper. Surprised, Ella set aside her work. "You didn't need to bring me anything?" "I wanted to." He handed her the package, then sat opposite her. Ella carefully unwrapped the paper to reveal a small, leather-bound book of poetry. "Oh," she breathed, opening it to find pristine pages of Tennyson's verses. "It's beautiful." "I noticed you reading the old copy in the library," Cole explained. "Thought you might like one of your own." Ella ran her fingers over the embossed cover. "Thank you, I shall treasure it." Cole leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Ella, I've been thinking." A crash from the kitchen interrupted him. They both stood as Mrs. Perkins called out in alarm. Rushing to the kitchen, they found the older woman on the floor amidst broken crockery, clutching her wrist. "Slipped on that blasted wet spot," she grimaced. "Tried to catch myself and now my wrist's all wrong." Cole carefully helped her up while Ella examined the wrist. "It's swelling already," she noted with concern. "I think it may be broken." "Fiddlesticks," Mrs. Perkins muttered. "Just what we need with winter coming on." "I'll ride for the doctor," Cole decided. "No need to drag Edgar out at this hour," Mrs. Perkins objected. "It'll keep till morning." After a brief argument, Mrs. Perkins reluctantly agreed to let Cole fetch Dr. Wilson. While he was gone, Ella made the older woman comfortable in her bedroom, applying cold compresses to the swollen wrist. "This is most inconvenient," Mrs. Perkins fretted. "How am I to manage my duties with one hand?" "You won't need to," Ella assured her. "I can manage the household while you recover." Mrs. Perkins eyed her shrewdly. "It's a lot of work for one person." "I'm stronger than I look, remember?" Ella smiled. "Besides, you'll be directing me from your chair, I've no doubt." This brought a reluctant chuckle from the older woman. "True enough." Dr. Wilson confirmed a broken wrist and splinted it securely. 6 weeks at least, he told Mrs. Perkins. "No heavy work." 6 weeks, she protested. "What about Thanksgiving, Christmas preparations?" "Ella will manage," Cole said firmly, "and I'll hire a girl from town to help with the heavier work." Mrs. Perkins subsided into disgruntled acceptance. "Suppose there's no help for it." "But mind you get someone who knows which end of a broom to use." As the doctor prepared to leave, Cole walked him to his buggy. Ella, seeing them deep in conversation on the porch, wondered what they were discussing so intently with Mrs. Perkins confined to light tasks. Ella's workload increased significantly. Cole hired a young widow from town, Hannah Green, to come 3 times weekly for the heaviest cleaning, but the daily cooking and household management fell to Ella. Cole himself took on more work around the house, chopping extra firewood and handling tasks that required strength. Ella found him surprisingly adept at practical matters. "My father believed a man should know how to manage alone if needed," he explained one evening as he helped her move a heavy table to clean beneath it. "Made sure I could cook a decent meal and darn my own socks before I was 12. "A progressive thinker," Ella remarked. Cole smiled. "Just practical. Out here, self-reliance matters." Their evening conversations resumed, now often including Mrs. Perkins, who proved to be a fascinating storyteller when encouraged. She had come west as a young bride in the 1840s and had seen the territory transform from wilderness to settlement. "Land was cheap if you were willing to work it," she recalled one evening. "My Harold and I had 60 acres near what's now Carson City. After he passed, I couldn't manage alone, so I sold up and took employment with Cole's parents." "You never had children?" Ella asked gently. A shadow crossed Mrs. Perkins's face. "Wasn't meant to be, though we tried. Some women just aren't built for bearing children," the doctor said. Ella felt a pang of sympathy, remembering her own aunt's cruel predictions that Ella's slender build would make childbearing difficult. Cole changed the subject tactfully, asking Mrs. Perkins about early ranching methods, but later, when the older woman had retired, he found Ella still in the sitting room, lost in thought. "You seemed troubled earlier," he observed, sitting beside her. Ella hesitated, then admitted, "Mrs. Perkins's story reminded me of something my aunt used to say, that I was too frail to bear children properly." Cole frowned. "Your aunt sounds unpleasant." She was practical in her way. Thought marriage was a business arrangement, children a requirement. Ella looked down at her hands. "She claimed my narrow hips would make childbirth dangerous, if not impossible." "And this bothered you?" "It did, still does sometimes." Ella met his eyes. "Most men expect heirs." Something unreadable flickered across Cole's face. "Most men should value a woman for more than her ability to bear children." The conviction in his voice warmed her. "That's a rare perspective." "Is it?" Cole's gaze held hers. "Seems sensible to me." In the weeks that followed, Ella found herself growing closer to Cole. Their evening conversations extended, sometimes late into the night. He spoke of his hopes for the ranch, his desire to introduce new breeding stock in the spring. She shared stories of her childhood in Boston, her love of music and literature. November brought early snow and preparations for Thanksgiving. Despite her broken wrist, Mrs. Perkins insisted on supervising the meal planning. "We always host the hands for Thanksgiving dinner," she explained to Ella. "Cole's mother started the tradition, and we've kept it going." "How many should we expect?" Ella asked, making notes. 12 men plus Jimmy, Cole, you, me, and Hannah if she'll join us. 17 altogether." Ella's eyes widened. "That's quite a gathering." "The men deserve a proper celebration," Mrs. Perkins said firmly. "Many don't have family nearby." Thanksgiving Day dawned bright and cold. Ella had been cooking for days, preparing pies, bread, and side dishes that could be made ahead. Hannah arrived early to help, and even Mrs. Perkins managed to peel apples one-handed. Cole rearranged the furniture in the dining room, creating one long table by combining every flat surface available. By noon, delicious aromas filled the house as the ranch hands arrived in their Sunday best, scrubbed clean and awkward in their finery. Ella had never seen the house so full of life. The Cowboys, rough men softened by the occasion, treated her with a mixture of respect and shy gratitude that touched her heart. They ate with enthusiasm, praising every dish and telling stories that had everyone laughing. Cole, at the head of the table, seemed transformed by the gathering, more relaxed and openly happy than Ella had ever seen him. Catching her watching him, he raised his glass in a private toast that made her blush. After the meal, some of the men produced instruments of fiddle, harmonica, and guitar. Music filled the house as they played traditional tunes. To Ella's surprise, Cole asked her to dance. "I'm not very practiced," she warned as he led her to a clear space. "Neither am I," he admitted, taking her hand, "but I'd like to try." They moved awkwardly at first, finding their rhythm as they circled the makeshift dance floor. Other couples joined them, Hannah with one of the younger cowboys, Mrs. Perkins persuaded onto the floor by the oldest ranch hand. "This is wonderful," Ella said, breathless from dancing. "Thank you for including me." Cole's hand tightened slightly at her waist. "You're part of this place now, Ella, part of—" He paused. "You belong here." The words, simple as they were, filled her with unexpected joy. "I feel that too." Later, after the men had returned to the bunkhouse and Mrs. Perkins and Hannah had retired, Ella and Cole sat by the fire, too content to end the evening. "Best Thanksgiving in years," Cole remarked, watching the flames. "You made it special." "It was a group effort," Ella demurred. "No," Cole turned to face her. "It was you. The way you welcomed everyone made them feel at home. Even the shyest hands were comfortable today." Ella smiled. "I enjoyed it tremendously. Having everyone together felt right." "It did." Cole hesitated, then added softly, "Having you here feels right, Ella." Her heart quickened at his words, at the way he looked at her as if she were something precious. "Cole, I'm not good with words," he said. "Not like the poetry you read, but I need you to know that these months with you have been the happiest I can remember." Ella felt tears prick her eyes. "For me as well." Cole reached for her hand, his touch gentle. "I don't want you to leave when Mrs. Perkins recovers." "I don't want to leave either," she admitted. "Good." His smile was tender. "Because I've been thinking about the future, about what I want for this ranch, for my life." Ella held her breath, hardly daring to hope he meant what she thought. "I know it hasn't been long," Cole continued, "and I'm not asking for answers tonight, but I want you to know that I care for you, Ella, more than I thought possible." "I care for you too," she whispered. Cole lifted her hand to his lips. "Then we have time to see where this leads. No rush, no pressure." His consideration touched her deeply. "Thank you." As December progressed, the ranch prepared for winter. Cole and his men brought in additional hay for the cattle and reinforced fences against snowdrifts. Inside, Ella and Mrs. Perkins, whose wrist was healing well, began Christmas preparations. One evening, Cole returned from town with a fir tree strapped to his wagon. "Thought we might decorate it," he suggested almost shyly. "My mother always insisted on a proper Christmas tree." With Jimmy's help, they set up the tree in the sitting room. Mrs. Perkins produced a box of ornaments from storage, delicate glass baubles and handmade decorations collected over decades. "This one Cole made when he was 7, she told Ella, holding up a crude wooden star. "And this angel was his mother's favorite." Cole watched as Ella carefully hung each ornament. "You have a good eye for arrangement." "My mother loved Christmas decorating," Ella replied. "We had few luxuries, but she always made the season magical." When the tree was finished, they stood back to admire it. Cole slipped his hand into Ella's, a gesture that felt both new and completely natural. "It's beautiful," she murmured. Yes, he agreed, though his eyes weren't on the tree but on her face. Mrs. Perkins cleared her throat. I believe I'll retire early. Jimmy, come help an old woman up the stairs. When they were alone, Cole drew Ella closer. I have something to ask you. What is it? She asked, her pulse quickening. The Christmas dance in town is next Saturday. Would you accompany me? The request was simple, but Ella understood its significance. Attending a public event together would announce their courtship to the community. I'd be honored, she replied. Cole's smile was brilliant. I was hoping you'd say that. The next day, Ella mentioned her need for dress fabric to Hannah, who was helping with the laundry. No need to sew something new, Hannah assured her. Martha Wilson mentioned you're about my size. I have a lovely blue dress I wore before my mourning period, never had occasion to wear it since. It's yours if you want it. Ella hesitated. That's incredibly generous, but please, Hannah insisted. It would make me happy to see it worn. Thomas always said blue was my color, but seeing it just makes me sad now. Touched by the offer, Ella accepted. The dress, when Hannah brought it, was indeed lovely, a deep blue silk with modest lace trim at the collar and cuffs. It's perfect, Ella breathed, holding it against herself. The color suits you, Mrs. Perkins approved. Matches your eyes. The night of the dance, Ella dressed with special care. Hannah had come early to help with her hair, arranging it in a simple but elegant style. When she descended the stairs, Cole waited in the foyer dressed in his best suit. The look on his face when he saw her made Ella's heart swell. You're beautiful, he said simply. Thank you. She touched the dress self-consciously. Hannah lent me the gown. It's perfect. Cole offered his arm. Shall we? The town hall was decorated with evergreen boughs and red ribbons. It seemed all of Ely had turned out for the celebration. Martha Wilson rushed to greet them as they entered. Ella, my dear, you look radiant. She embraced Ella warmly before giving Cole an approving nod. And you clean up nicely, young man. Throughout the evening, Ella was introduced to what felt like the entire town. People were welcoming, though she noticed curious glances and whispered comments. Being on Cole Reed's arm clearly generated interest. Everyone's staring, she murmured as they danced. Cole's arm tightened around her waist. Let them. I'm proud to be here with you. The music shifted to a slower melody. Cole drew her closer, his movements confident as he guided her around the floor. You said you couldn't dance, Ella teased. He smiled. I may have understated my abilities. My mother insisted I learn the basics. She was a wise woman. She would have liked you, Cole said softly, very much. As the evening wore on, Ella found herself enjoying the community's warmth. These were good people who had welcomed her without reservation. When Martha Wilson pulled her aside for punch, the doctor's wife was beaming. I haven't seen Cole so happy in years, she confided. You're good for him. He's good for me, Ella replied. Martha squeezed her hand. Love suits you both. The word lingered in Ella's mind as they drove home under a star-filled sky. Love. Was that what she felt for Cole? The deep contentment in his presence, the way her heart lifted at his smile, the sense of rightness she felt at his side, was that love? As if reading her thoughts, Cole spoke. I've been meaning to tell you something. What is it? She asked, suddenly nervous. He pulled the wagon to a stop, turning to face her in the moonlight. I've fallen in love with you, Ella. The simple declaration stole her breath. Cole, you don't need to say anything, he assured her. I just wanted you to know. But I want to say it, she whispered. I love you too. Cole cupped her face gently. May I kiss you? At her nod, he leaned forward, his lips meeting hers in a tender, questioning kiss that deepened as she responded. When they parted, Ella felt as though something fundamental had shifted in her world. I never expected to find you, Cole murmured. Never thought I could feel this way. Nor I, Ella admitted. After everything, I'd stopped hoping. He kissed her again, briefly but with feeling, before setting the wagon in motion once more. We should get home before Mrs. Perkins sends a search party. The days leading to Christmas passed in a happy blur. Cole and Ella found moments to be alone, walks in the crisp winter air, quiet conversations by the fire after Mrs. Perkins retired. Each kiss, each shared confidence, deepened the bond between them. Christmas Eve brought another gathering, smaller than Thanksgiving but no less joyful. After a special supper, gifts were exchanged. Ella had knitted scarves for Cole and Jimmy and sewn a shawl for Mrs. Perkins from fine wool Cole had ordered from town. "It's beautiful work, Mrs. Perkins said, genuinely touched. "You have a real talent, girl." Cole's gift to Ella was a small wooden box exquisitely carved. "I made it," he explained as she traced the pattern of leaves and flowers on the lid, "for your treasures." "It's perfect," she whispered, overcome by the thought of him creating something so beautiful with his own hands. After Jimmy and Mrs. Perkins had gone to bed, Cole asked Ella to stay by the fire a while longer. "I have one more gift," he said, suddenly serious. From his pocket, he withdrew a small velvet pouch. "This belonged to my mother." Ella's breath caught as he emptied the pouch into his palm, revealing a gold ring set with a small diamond. "I know it hasn't been long," Cole began, his voice uncharacteristically uncertain. "And we can wait as long as you need. But I love you, Ella, and I want to build a life with you." Tears blurred her vision as he continued. "This ranch, everything I have, it means nothing without someone to share it with. Someone who understands what makes this land special, who sees beauty where others see emptiness." He took her hand. "Will you marry me?" Ella's heart felt too full for words. "Yes," she managed. "Yes, with all my heart." Cole slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her close for a kiss that held all the promise of their future together. When they finally broke apart, Ella remembered something that had been troubling her. "Cole, there's something you should know, something important." His expression grew concerned. "What is it?" Ella took a deep breath. "What I told you about my aunt's warnings, about children, it wasn't just her opinion. When I was 16, I became very ill with scarlet fever. The doctor afterwards said, he said I would likely never be able to bear children." She watched his face anxiously, searching for disappointment or reconsideration. Instead, Cole took her hands firmly in his. "Ella, listen to me. I'm not asking you to marry me for children you might bear. I'm asking because I love you, your mind, your heart, your spirit." "But most men want heirs," she protested weakly. "I want you," he stated simply. "Children or no children, if doctors are right and we can't have our own, then we'll find other children to love. There are too many in this world who need homes and hearts to welcome them." Tears spilled down Ella's cheeks. "I cannot bear children," she confessed, voicing her deepest fear. The cowboy said with absolute conviction, "Then we'll love those who need us." Ella fell into his embrace, overwhelmed by the simple, profound acceptance of his love. They were married on New Year's Day in the town church, with what seemed like all of Ely in attendance. Martha Wilson had helped Ella alter Hannah's blue dress into a wedding gown, adding white lace and tiny pearl buttons. Cole waited at the altar with Jimmy as his best man, looking solemn and handsome in his new suit. When Ella walked down the aisle on Dr. Wilson's arm, his face transformed with a joy that matched her own. The celebration afterward at the ranch was lively and extended well into the evening. When the last guests had departed and Mrs. Perkins had tactfully retired to her room, Cole carried Ella across the threshold of the master bedroom, now their bedroom. "Welcome home, Mrs. Reed," he murmured, setting her gently on her feet. "I've been home since the day you found me," she replied, reaching up to touch his face. Their life together settled into a rhythm that felt both new and as if it had always been. Winter gave way to spring, bringing fresh work and challenges that they faced as partners. Cole consulted Ella on ranch decisions, valuing her practical mind and fresh perspective. In April, a letter arrived from the orphanage in Carson City, responding to their inquiry about children in need of homes. A brother and sister, ages 8 and 6, had lost their parents in a mining accident and had no relatives to claim them. "Should we go meet them?" Cole asked, watching Ella's face carefully. "Yes," she replied without hesitation. "As soon as possible." The children, William and Sarah, were solemn-faced and wary when Ella and Cole first met them. The matron explained they had been at the orphanage for 3 months and were still grieving. "They're good children," she assured them. "Just hurt and frightened." Ella knelt to their level. "Hello. I'm Ella and this is Cole. We have a ranch with horses and cows and a big house with empty rooms that need children to fill them." William, protective of his sister, asked suspiciously, "Why do you want us?" Cole answered honestly, "Because we have love to give and you need somewhere to belong." They visited daily for a week, bringing small gifts, a carved wooden horse for William, a rag doll for Sarah, and gradually earning their trust. By the end of the week, the children asked if they could see the ranch. "Does this mean we can come live with you?" Sarah asked hopefully as they prepared to leave the orphanage. Ella and Cole exchanged glances. "Would you like to?" Cole asked. William looked at his sister, then nodded decisively. "Yes, we would." The adoption process took time, but by summer the children were legally theirs. The ranch house rang with young voices, with questions and laughter and occasional tears as they adjusted to their new family. Mrs. Perkins, to everyone's surprise, revealed a talent for storytelling that delighted the children. Jimmy, now fully recovered, taught William to ride, while Sarah followed Ella everywhere, learning cooking and gardening with enthusiastic if messy results. One evening in late summer, Cole found Ella on the porch, watching the sunset after the children had gone to bed. "Happy?" he asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "Completely," she sighed, leaning into his embrace. "You've given me everything I never dared hope for." "We've built it together," he corrected gently. Ella turned in his arms. "Do you ever regret that we couldn't have children of our own?" Cole shook his head firmly. "Never. William and Sarah are ours in every way that matters." "I think they're healing," Ella said. Sarah laughed today, a real laugh, not the careful one she uses when she's trying to please us. "And William asked if he could learn ranching properly," Cole added. "Said he wants to help me when he's older." They stood in comfortable silence until Cole spoke again. "I received a letter today from the orphanage." Ella looked up, questioning. "There's a baby," he explained. 2 months old. Mother died in childbirth, father unknown. They asked if we might consider taking her. "A baby," Ella's heart quickened. "So soon, we can say no," Cole assured her. "We have our hands full with William and Sarah. It's a lot to take on." Ella thought of their home, already transformed by love and children's laughter. "What did you tell them?" "That I needed to speak with my wife." Cole's eyes held hers. "This is our decision together." Without hesitation, Ella nodded. "Yes, let's bring her home." Cole's smile was radiant as he pulled her close. "I was hoping you'd say that." They named the baby Elizabeth, after Cole's mother. William and Sarah took their roles as older siblings seriously, helping with the baby and adjusting to sharing their new parents' attention with surprising grace. As autumn painted the Nevada landscape in gold and crimson, the Reed family gathered on the porch after supper, Cole and Ella with Elizabeth in her cradle, William whittling under Jimmy's guidance, Sarah learning to knit from Mrs. Perkins. "We need a bigger table," Cole observed. "Family's growing faster than expected." "Family," Ella repeated softly, the word still a wonder to her. Cole squeezed her hand. "Remember what I told you that night by the Christmas tree, that we'd love the children who needed us?" Ella nodded, watching William's serious concentration, Sarah's delight as she completed a stitch correctly, Elizabeth's peaceful sleep. "I didn't know then how much they'd give us in return," Cole continued. "How much they'd teach us about love, or how full our hearts could be," Ella agreed. As twilight deepened into night, stars appearing one by one above the ranch, Ella thought about the long journey that had brought her to this place, the illness that had felled her on Ely's Main Street, the kindness of strangers who became family, the love of a man who saw beyond conventional expectations to the truth of what mattered. A family built not from obligation or biology but from choice and love, children who needed them, whom they needed in return, a home filled with laughter and purpose. "I love you," Cole murmured, his arm around her shoulders as they watched the stars emerge. "And I love you," Ella replied, knowing with absolute certainty that she had found her true home at last, not in a place, but in the heart of the man beside her and the family they had built together. The following spring, as wildflowers carpeted the Nevada plains in brilliant color, the Reed family welcomed two more children cousins of William and Sarah, discovered through the orphanage's continued efforts to locate relatives. At 10 and 12, they were older, more wounded by life's hardships, but Ella and Cole opened their hearts and home without hesitation. "Some might think us crazy," Cole remarked as they prepared the additional bedroom. 5 children in less than 2 years. Ella smiled, remembering her fears of a barren future. "Some might, but they don't understand what we've discovered." "And what's that, Mrs. Reed?" She took his hand, leading him to the window where they could see all 5 children in the yard, William teaching the newcomers to throw a lasso, Sarah cradling Elizabeth in the shade of the old oak. "That family isn't about bearing children," she said softly. "It's about bearing love. And that, my dear husband, is something we have in abundance." Cole's kiss held all the promise of their shared future, a ranch flourishing under their care, children growing strong in the shelter of their love, a life richer and more complete than either had dared to imagine when fate brought them together on a dusty street in Ely.